Enjoy being educated in such topics as personal injury law, community association law, family law, bankruptcy law, along with health show topics like pain management, men's health, and dental implants. Now, sit back and enjoy today's Ask the Experts with host Steve-O.
Hello, welcome to another Ask the Experts. We are on every Monday and Thursday night from 6 to 7. This is like our 6th year doing Ask the Experts, and I guess we've been pretty successful because we've added another hour to the show. And tonight's show, our expert tonight has been with us for a while, and it's such an easy show to do because everybody understands personal injury. You've either been in an automobile accident or you've had a slip and fall or a dog bite, motorcycle accident. So we've got the best of the best. It's attorney Shane Farnsworth. Hi, Shane.
Hi, Steve. How are you today?
I'm good, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm excited to do the last show of the year.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It's always good to see you, and it's amazing because we get so many people that tell us how much they enjoy your show, and it seems like, Shane, in the last 2 or 3 weeks, we have gotten so many new listeners. So tell people about your practice.
Sure. I'm located in Delray Beach. I'm a solo practitioner, so I'm a small firm. We concentrate on making sure that our clients get personal attention. We do our best to make sure everybody's happy. If you call, you'll speak to me. You'll be in contact with the attorney, not support staff. We're located on Southeast 4th Street across from the IPIC Theater, if you know where that is in downtown Delray. I've been there since 1999, so I've been doing this a long time.
Wow.
So it's a good location. We represent people, throughout the state of Florida, but primarily Palm Beach and Broward County.
And now they don't even have to come to your office anymore, do they?
No, since COVID, doing stuff statewide even before, sometimes it was obviously more convenient. People couldn't come to the office, and you would, do business via telephone and be able to do a lot of the stuff that way. But now that COVID came through, we've gotten used to using Zoom. So a lot of our consultations and meetings now are done either by phone conference or by Zoom. We do still see people at the office if they're comfortable with coming in and they want to do that. We're open to doing that. But if you're social distancing and being careful, we can certainly accommodate that as well.
Let's remind people what areas of law you handle within personal injury.
Sure. I know we talk about this quite often. Personal injury is sort of an umbrella term for all different sorts of law. We do primarily car accidents, slip and falls. We handle dog bites, motorcycle accidents, tractor-trailer accidents. Those are the things we do. Our office doesn't handle workers' comp, or we don't do nursing home or medical malpractice, but those other areas we do cover.
Okay, so we got to talk about auto accidents, and there's a lot to know when it comes to auto accidents, but the most important thing is, because of the way, and I got to stop for, I got to tell you a funny thing. I was watching someone's commercial the other night. It was a personal injury attorney's commercial, and he came on and said, and I wouldn't have known this, but because of our show, he said, I don't charge 40% like other attorneys do. I only charge 30%. Shane, explain why that's a little shaky.
Well, I'm not sure. I haven't seen the commercial. I don't know who the attorney is, but we use what's called a Contingency Fee Agreement. Basically what that means is if we don't collect any money for you, we don't get paid. If we collect any money for you, we get a percentage of what we collect. The Florida Bar allows us to collect 33 1/3% prior to filing suit, and after filing suit, we can collect 40%. So generally speaking, that's what an attorney's contract is going to be. Like I said, that's governed by the Florida Bar. Certainly, it's a free market. if somebody wants to discount their fee because for
But the
whatever reason they're
40%,
able to do that.
the 40% doesn't kick in unless you go to court. That's not the way this attorney made it sound.
Yeah, I'm not, like I said, I didn't see his commercial, so I don't know. But the way my contract is structured and the way most contracts are structured I've ever seen, like I said, it's governed by the Florida bar. So prior to the filing of a lawsuit, we get 33 and a third percent of any money we collect. If we file a lawsuit and we're in litigation and the case is resolved, either it's settled during litigation or it goes to trial and you get a verdict, we get 40% once suit is filed.
So if you work on a contingency basis, a person, if they're in an automobile accident, they should come in and see you. It's not going to cost them anything, and sit down and you tell them what their options are.
No, on personal injury cases, if you call our office, it's a free consultation. And like you mentioned before, if we take your case and we don't recover any money for you, you don't have to pay any fees for that. So there really isn't any downside to it. I know we've talked before regarding getting representation as soon as possible because when you're involved in an accident, usually it's not something people are accustomed to going through, and the insurance adjusters for the person that ran into you, they are accustomed to it. They're trained. They do classes. That's their job. So they're going to make sure that they protect the interests of that insurance company, and that interest is to try and pay you as little as possible for your injuries. So the sooner you get to an attorney, the more protected you're going to be.
So there's all kind of accidents. There's little dings. There's fender benders. There's auto accidents. How does someone know what kind of accident do they have to be in to call your office?
Well, generally speaking, for us to take a case, it would have to involve the person being injured. If your car is damaged, if we're representing you in an injury claim, we're more than happy to help you along the way with the property damage claim as well. But we don't generally take property damage claims on their own just because it's hard for us to be able to do anything with those that, we have to charge the people for it, and then that's money coming out of what they would get to fix their car. So usually, like I said, if you have an accident where you're injured, we'll help you with the property damage. But if you're not injured, we generally don't get involved.
I think the reason I brought it up because we had a chiropractor tell us that a lot of times people are injured in an automobile accident and they don't have any pain till 2 or 3 days later. So what does a person do who's been in an automobile accident doesn't think they have any injuries, and all of a sudden 3 or 4 days later injuries pop up?
Well, before I get to that, I want to bring up one thing that I want to remind people of, because I've mentioned it several times before, but I got a call today that shows that sometimes people don't understand this part of it. The very first thing is when you're involved in an accident, call the police and get a report.
Yeah, right.
I got a call today from a person. Fortunately for them, they weren't injured in the accident. They were in a Publix parking lot, driving down the lane. Someone backed up into the side of their car. So neither one of them wanted to spend the time waiting for a police officer. So that person was talked into, hey, I'll give you some information and we'll handle this amongst ourselves. They did that. So this happened a week ago. They've been calling that number, leaving voicemails and texts for the last week. And guess how many responses they've had?
Yeah.
0.
Yeah, you're right.
So when they called me today, I explained to them, well, you can still go to the police department in the jurisdiction where the accident happened, and you can file a police report, and you can use that to go to your insurance company and make your claim. But if that other person says they weren't involved in the accident, then it becomes more difficult. Right. And the time you save by not calling the police in the Publix parking lot, you're not going to spend probably 2 to 3 times that much time going to the police department to file the report, calling the insurance company, having to deal with whether or not the person is going to admit they were involved in the accident, determining whether or not there's liability. So number one, stay at the scene, take the time, call the police and get a report. Now, Sometimes, and you're correct, when people are involved in an accident, a lot of times, your adrenaline's going. It's not something you're involved in normally, and you may or may not feel pain initially. But oftentimes, the next day or within 2 days, people, once they're calmed down, they sort of have, time to see what's going on. A lot of times, they'll develop pain, and it's important. And we already talked about seeing an attorney as soon as possible to protect your rights. But if you are injured, it's important to get to a doctor as quickly as possible as well. The reason you want to do that, one, to find out what's wrong with you and get treatment for it. And number two, if you are injured in the accident, you want to document those injuries so they're attributable to the accident. And if you have medical records that are contemporaneous with the time you had the accident, it's a lot easier. If you wait, a week or so to go to the doctor, a lot of times what will happen is down the line, an insurance adjuster will say, well, you were in the accident, you waited 10 days to go to the doctor. If you were really hurt, why did you wait? And those are things that we have to deal with and trying to, argue to get the value of your case up. So the sooner you get medical and legal help, the better in any accident case where you're injured.
That must be really hard to prove if someone has injuries that they didn't realize, like you said, adrenaline, and 3 or 4 days later they start getting their neck or whatever. It must be hard to prove that it was now from that accident from 4 days ago.
Well, 4 days isn't too bad. I mean, basically, if you get in for treatment and you're asymptomatic, didn't have neck pain before, and since this 2 days after the accident, you do have neck pain and you haven't had any intervening causes, you didn't fall down the stairs in those 2 days, or play football and get tackled the wrong way, you can show that those things are related. But the longer you wait to get the medical care, the more you give an excuse to an insurance company to try to use that against you. And there's no point in doing that. If you're feeling pain, get to the doctor and get help. The other thing that we've talked about in other shows is that in Florida, we're a no-fault state, and you have personal injury protection. And if you don't treat within 14 days of the date of the accident, you lose that personal injury protection. So, you don't want to lose those medical benefits. So, make sure you get to the doctor if you're feeling pain as soon as possible.
Shane, do most people understand that? Because I'm sure when people come to your office and you show them, their policy, do most people know about the 14 days?
Generally, no. A lot of times you'll have somebody come in, and let's say they were, at a stop sign, somebody ran into the back of them, they're injured, they're going to the doctor, and I explained to them, Florida's a no-fault state, so the first $10,000 of your medical bills is going to be paid through your insurance, through your personal injury protection. A lot of times people are taken aback by that, and they say, hey, I'm just sitting at the stop sign minding my business, and this person's not paying attention, and they ran into the back of me. Why do I have to use my insurance? And the reason is Florida is a no-fault state, and the way that it's set up is that everybody's required to carry PIP and property damage. Those are the only two required coverages, but the PIP, personal injury protection, pays up to $10,000 to pay for medical care. Now, the caveats to that are you have to treat within 14 days or else you're not entitled to that $10,000. And another thing is you have to be determined by a medical professional to have suffered what's called a emergency medical condition related to the accident. If you don't get an EMC designation, then your PIP benefits are capped at $2,500. However, once you get an EMC designation, you're entitled to the full $10,000.
Okay. We're going to go to break. Let me tell you something. You need to write attorney Shane Farnsworth's phone number down, because first of all, you never know when you're going to get in a wreck, and you don't have to wonder, go, what was that attorney's name on Ask the Experts? His phone number is 561-272-8337. And even you might have a friend or a family member, and we have the best of the best. Shane has been with us for a long time. Again, his phone number is 561-272-8337. And your website, which has got all the shows on it. What is your website?
Yeah, you can visit farnsworthlaw.net. It has all the shows you can watch.
Okay, we're going to go to break. When we come back, we'll be back with more personal injury, auto accidents, slip and falls from attorney Shane Farnsworth. We'll be right back.
As an experienced personal injury attorney, Shane Farnsworth understands the key to success in your case. You are entitled to compensation for your injuries, medical bills, lost wages, and personal loss. Mr. Farnsworth will go to trial if you are not offered the fair settlement that you deserve. The law offices of Shane M. Farnsworth, VA, has established itself as one of the leading personal injury law firms in the South Florida area. They give all their personal injury clients a promise. If they don't recover monetary damages in your case, you will not pay any attorney's fees. Shane M. Farnsworth, VA, offers a free consultation to evaluate your legal case. If they take your case, they only get paid if they win. Whether you've been injured in a motor vehicle crash, slip and fall, workplace accident, or through the negligence of someone else, you need attorney Shane Farnsworth fighting on your side. Call now for a free consultation. That's 561-272-8337.
We are back. This is the Ask the Expert show. We've been airing for nearly 7 years now. We are on stations 1470 AM, 103.9 FM, 96.9 FM, and 95.3 FM. Or you can go to the station's website, which is really easy to do, www.wwnnradio.com. You can actually listen to the show live. Tonight we're with our expert. He can't say that, but I can. Our expert in personal injury is attorney Shane Farnsworth, and we're talking a lot about auto accidents tonight because there's a lot of people who don't even understand. They don't understand PIP, Shane. They don't understand, like you said, when you tell them that their insurance has to pay for it and it's not their fault, they must flip out.
A lot of times they do, and then you have to go through and explain to them that we're a no-fault state and how that works. So, it's just the way that it is here. But, you have to understand, like I said before the break, the only coverages that you're required to carry in Florida are PIP and property damage. So the other thing that comes up that people a lot of times find out too late is that there isn't coverage to cover their injuries. If somebody's negligent and they injure you, they have to have what's called bodily injury coverage to compensate you for those injuries. In Florida, that's not required. So it's super important that now's a good time, it's the end of the year, to look at your insurance policy and see what coverages you have. And if you don't have bodily injury coverage, number one, you should have it because if you injure somebody else, you should be responsible, and you want to have coverage, because if not and you get sued, they can come after your personal assets if you have any. The other thing is, if you have bodily injury coverage, you can buy what's called uninsured motorist coverage, which covers you in the event that you're injured by somebody who either doesn't have bodily injury coverage or has insufficient bodily injury coverage. And the way that it works is you can only buy uninsured motorist coverage up to the limits of your bodily injury coverage. So I always tell people to try to buy as much bodily injury as you can afford and match that with the because there's nothing worse than having someone come into the office who's been seriously injured, and the driver who injured them is either uninsured or has no bodily injury coverage, and they don't have any uninsured motorist coverage. And at that point, unless the person that hit them is independently wealthy, and in most cases, if they don't have insurance, they're probably not, you're not going to probably be able to collect.
I want to also tell everybody that Shane only practices personal injury. I'm in the business where I'm always talking to lawyers, looking at lawyers, and I can't tell you how many lawyers out there try to handle bankruptcy, criminal law. I mean, they have shingles up that stretch down to the street. And what's so important with Shane, this is all he does. This is all you do ever. And I want to tell everybody, because I've learned over the years with you how important service is to your clients.
Yeah, I'm a small firm. You're not going to see me on the side of the bus or on the billboard. So for me to make a living, I have to make sure that the clients who come to me are treated correctly, and we do a great job for them, because we need them to go out into the community and refer us future clients. And that's primarily where our business comes from. So we're certainly, like I said, we're a small firm to begin with. It's myself and my assistant. So, if you call, you're going to speak to one of the two of us. But, we do make sure that I'm available. And if you do need to speak to me, I'm there. And if you call, as I mentioned before, if you're calling us before lunchtime, you'll get a call back that day. If it's after lunchtime, you'll probably get a call back that afternoon, but it may be the following day. But you will hear from me.
Shane, it's probably no big deal to you that, when you say if they call in the morning that you'll try to call them back within that afternoon. There are so many people I have talked to who've hired these big firms on the buses, and they'll say, I put a call into my attorney. It's been 2 weeks since I've heard from them. I have heard so many stories like that. So, and people, people get, what's going on. They want to know. And the fact that you get back with them, maybe not within the hour, but you get back with them. It's not like a week later.
Yeah, like I said, I want my clients, to refer people in the future. And the other thing is, during the pendency of a client's claim, I want them to be as well educated about the process as possible. A well-educated client is someone who's, informed, and they're involved in their case. And that's important. I'm the attorney, and I can try to do my part of it. But if you as a client don't understand and aren't willing to take the time and put the energy in to make your claim worthwhile, there's only so much I can do. So it's imperative that clients do understand what's going on, and we want them to be educated. So we're available to talk to them whenever they call.
They're the final decision maker. You could only lay it out for them, but it's up to them what decision they make in the end.
That's correct. Ultimately, it's their case, and they have the final say so, not me. But as you're going along, there's certain, it's like building a building. You got to have a strong foundation in order to, in the end, have a finished product that's going to, get you the results that you want. So having clients who are engaged is incredibly important. You don't want a client that you don't want to meet them and sign them up, and then you don't talk to them for 6 months. They got to know what's going on. They got to be involved. They got to be invested.
Well, I tell you, Shane, this is like a really important show because we got the holidays coming up. We have Christmas is right around the corner. We have New Year's Eve, and people like to drink. And that's a lot of what causes a lot of accidents. Is there anything before we leave you can tell people to kind of watch out for, whether they're pedestrians or bicyclists or drivers during the holiday season?
Yeah, just keep in mind that this time of year, everybody is super busy. People are distracted. So, if you're driving your car, pay attention to the traffic around you, pay attention to, road construction, things like that. If you're a bicyclist or a pedestrian, keep in mind we're at the shortest part of the year as far as daylight. So, it's dark by 6 o'clock now. So if you're somebody who's trying to get outside away from COVID and go for a run or a bike ride, and you just get home from work and you're going out at 6 o'clock, keep in mind that's when most people are coming home. So it's very easy to be distracted, and it's harder to drive at night and see what's going on than it is during the day. So, if you're a bicyclist or a runner, please wear reflective gear. And if you're a bicyclist, we've talked about this before, you're required by state law. You got to have a white lamp on the front and a red flashing lamp and reflector on the back. Make sure that vehicles can see you, because if they don't, the consequences can be awful.
Well, Shane, you are the best. The phone number is 561-272-8337. Attorney Shane Farnsworth, 561-272-8337. And just give them your website.
It is farnsworthlaw.net.
Keep that number. You never know. Thanks, Shane, and we'll see you after the holidays.
All right. Thank you, Steve.
Take
Happy
care.
holidays.
Same to you.
Thanks for listening to the Ask the Expert Show, featuring interviews with local experts in